Welcome back to Part G with Becky and Kenzie. Today, our topic is springing into wellness. Before we start, we just wanted to acknowledge the current events that are going on. When we record, we like to be conscious of everything that's happening in the world. So currently, there's been a lot of Asian hate crimes in that community based on what's been going on with coronavirus and everything else. So we just want to acknowledge that we hear you, we care about you, and this topic can especially help that community as well. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and you're being safe out there. So hopefully these wellness tips can help you ground yourself and be able to deal with some of the just heinous things that are happening in that community. So we hear you, we stand with you, and we're going to get started with our wellness topic. So hopefully some of these things will help get you through that. So Becky, why don't you start with, you're our guru of herbalism and everything else. So I would love for you to start on this topic.
Little Miss Natural. Really quick, I just want to piggyback off what you said that my friend Steve, I've been thinking about him a lot. I reached out to him and I think I definitely want to have him back on to talk about this because I know we did touch on that.
Yeah.
When we did, oh my God, I'm blinking out on the topic.
Yeah.
The men's topic, thank you. We touched a little bit on it and it was before it got so bad. So I want to just hope that we can coordinate that again because I think that would be great to do. But yes, these tips can help anyone, especially with traumatic times or just to kind of help you do some self-care in the wellness department.
And also, I wanted to mention a lot of these tips come from Chinese medicine and Asian communities and their way of living. So we have to respect that as well.
Yeah, a lot of what I've learned comes from my naturopath, who's an acupuncturist who practices traditional Chinese medicine. And it is very interesting how accurate traditional Chinese medicine is when there's an imbalance.
Yeah.
When you can describe how you're feeling and find the remedy and it actually works.
Yeah.
Or with acupuncture, you know, the meridians and how this time of year, especially, you know, my naturopath would always talk about stagnant qi. You know, there's stagnation in the body and you want to make sure qi is your life force. So you want your life force to be, you know, flowing. You don't want it to be stuck and
and I feel like a lot of times too in the winter, a lot of things can become stuck because you're inside, you're cold, like you're not getting out, you're not moving your body as much. So there's definitely a lot of like residual stagnant qi in our body. So when the spring comes, we want to try to move and flow that energy out.
Yeah. You're eating heavier foods because you're trying to stay warm. You're in recycled air because you're trying to keep the heat in. You're not able to open the windows, get fresh air. You have to keep your body in like 50 layers because it's cold out. So your body, you're not getting that vitamin D. So all the things that in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall, depending on how hot or cold it is, the outside elements can play a part in your wellness, in helping you feel better. This is why this springtime, it's the best time to do any kind of cleanse. I don't really do any like crazy cleanses or detoxes. That's like, I'm just gonna drink juice for 90 days or so, you know. I do juice this time of year, but I also eat food as well with it because I can't just do that. I don't want to put so much, I guess, for a lack of a better word, like so much draining out of my body so quickly because that can also dehydrate you. So one of the things that I do for my liver, and this is something, again, that was recommended by my naturopath. So as always, anytime I recommend supplements or any kind of herbs or anything, This is not recommended. Anything that I'm recommending is not for people if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. And if you have a medical condition or if you're on any medications, please, please, please check with your doctor first. Even there's things, I had to start on thyroid medication postpartum because my thyroid's all out of whack. So all the things that I've done, I did check with my doctor, like, can I use this? Can I use that? Are there any herbs that are contraindicated with this medication?
Right.
And he's like, no, you're fine. So I'm like, okay. Because I know me, and it's like, I want to make sure being sensitive to stuff that I'm not going to get sick from it.
Right.
So my naturopath to help liver stagnation, because with women's health, your menstrual cycle can be connected to your liver. And if you have stagnation in the liver, you may be experiencing heavier cramps.
Mhm.
I found out that technically we're not supposed to have cramps when we have our periods, which, like, who
Who would have
would
thought?
ever told me that? I'm like,
Right,
what?
they tell you to expect that, like,
Yeah, like I used to be
confidence.
doubled
Yeah.
over on the floor. So one of the things that I use this time of year, but being a sensitive person, I don't follow the directions.
Mhm.
I take less of what the bottle says. So I just take one a day, and they're called HEPA caps. And hopefully, let me see if this, I'll show you guys. And it's from Wise Women Herbals. So this has a 90-day supply if I'm going to do it once a day. So for me, this is like a 90-day gentle cleanse. There is, I can tell you what's in it, milk thistle seed, dandelion root, artichoke leaf, Chinese thorough wax root, fennel seed, Oregon grape root, turmeric, and licorice root. And I can show you, and then there's rice concentrate, and it says it's 100% vegetarian capsules. But I can show you guys what it looks like because I know some supplements can be gigantic.
Mhm.
Let me just grab one. But they're just in like a veggie capsule, and it's just powdered herbs. So it doesn't really taste that great. Like,
Mhm.
it
Going down.
dissolves quick, so I try to just drink water really fast. But I use this, and this says, oh, they want you to take 2 capsules 3 times a day. So that's too much for me. So I just do 1 a day.
That's
I'm
important, like, listen to your body, like, just because something says a certain amount, like, if that's too much for you, like, know your body and know how you
Yeah.
react.
Anytime I'm trying a new supplement, if it's like take however many, I'm like, I'll just take 1. Oh, and this is not a supplement that you're going to take all throughout the year. Like a multivitamin you take every day. This, you're going to take it and then take a break. So
Just
I'll
for
do
a
this.
cleanse.
Yeah, so I'll do this in the spring, and I will actually sometimes do it in the fall as well. I will definitely do it in the spring. So these kinds of herbs, because, what does it say? It used to, it doesn't say it on here. The old label that they had, it used to say for like liver gallbladder support. You don't want to constantly be cleansing your liver. It's like you do it for a short amount of time, then you take a break with any kind of cleanse, because it's just, you need to let your body do what it's naturally going to do.
Right.
And then my second favorite herb is, for this time of year, is dandelion. I grew up eating dandelion leaves, and they're very bitter, but I liked that. Even as a kid, I don't know, I liked the taste of that. But there's a tea from Traditional Medicinals, and it's the organic roasted dandelion root.
That's a good one.
Yeah, this is a really good tea. Typically, I will do so
And the
with
taste is really mild too, like, it's not too
yeah.
overwhelming.
So if you've never had dandelion, start with a tea because it's going to have less of the herb.
Mm.
If you're a tea lover like Kenzie and I, then you can move on to herbal infusions, which are just stronger teas. The infusions will pull um, the medicine out of the plants. And that's usually done with leaves, flowers, the more delicate parts of the plants. The roots, so dandelion root, if you had just like the organic loose root, you would do decoctions, which I like them too. They just take more time because it's on the stove with the pot, and it's just a longer
Process.
I'm with the baby, and me being me who has no patience, I want it now. So that's why I like to do infusions. And the last thing I want to show you guys about this, to do infusions if you're on the go a lot. So I had found this, I guess, what is this called?
Water.
Big flask, like. So I found this, I think it was either at TJ Maxx or Marshall's, and it's really cool on the inside. So you can have your herbal infusions on the go because it has a little basket
That's
inside.
right.
So you can put, and this is actually pretty big. I wouldn't fill this to the top with herbs. I'd probably just do like a quarter because it's not that big. But the inside of this, hope you guys can see, is all glass. So if you drop this, you have to throw it out. And me being me, knock on wood, I haven't dropped it yet.
I dropped my glass water bottle a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, and I had to get a new one. That's like, I got it and I thought it was glass, but now I'm recognizing it's like a really hard plastic. So I might get a new one again because I don't know, just plastic doesn't sit well with
Especially
me.
with hot, anything that's hot, I don't like to use plastic. I like to use glass if I'm on the go, glass or stainless steel.
Yeah.
So with this, so you would just put the herbs like a quarter. Little. I wonder if maybe you can just open a tea bag if you didn't have those herbs because it's not that much. Fill the water, herbs. Put this in here. Put the cap on. Let this sit for 20 minutes because when you make a cup of tea, so like this is open, all of that medicine just gets evaporated into the air. So if you're looking more for like the medicinal parts of the plants, keep it covered. So it's very similar with the coffee press do at home. But I like this option because it's really quick and easy.
And I just want to mention too, like you can put, so like obviously you want to stay hydrated all year long, but as the weather's getting warmer, you want to make sure you're really staying hydrated. And a lot of times people say they don't like water or it's not interesting enough to them. So you can add those either herbs to add a flavor to it, but you're also getting those medicinal effects. But I also like to add fruits as well. So like I'll put lemon in my water, or I'll put, I know Becky, you said cucumbers are really good as well, or strawberries sometimes, or I like to put mint leaves in there as well. So it's just like if you're bored of drinking water, adding those things are not only helping you medicinally, but it can also help you drink more water because you actually like the taste of it. So infusing herbs, but also fruits and veggies into your water can help a lot too.
Yeah, I love that too, like a cucumber mint, because cucumber is really hydrating. Mint is good for stimulating your digestive system. Strawberries, I think they're high in vitamin C. They're good for the skin. And then lemon is also great for the liver. In the summer, I'm looking forward to making Violet. I have to ask her pediatrician if she can have like fresh mint leaves.
That's my favorite herb to grow in the summers.
Yeah, I want to make her cucumber water, but I thought like, oh, if she could have mint, I'll do cucumber mint, but I'll just make it and then strain it. So it'll just be the water without the chunks of like food in it. God forbid she opens that and then like chokes. That's like the mom thing where I'm like, make sure she doesn't choke on anything. Just want to see for the summertime because I know with babies, be careful that they don't like get dehydrated because I don't think that they show signs. Um, I don't know. I was like reading up stuff and
Mhm.
just trying to figure out things like if it's real, but if it's like so hot, I won't really take her out. Like if the air quality is bad, I try not to because I can't breathe in that.
Right, well, that's what I was gonna say too with the mint. It can almost help you breathe better on those more humid days, or I went to Colorado over the summer, not this past summer, but whenever I went, and the elevation there is a lot higher. So on top of that, you can't breathe, plus it's hot out when I went, and every day I put peppermint in my water because I was just like, I can't breathe. Like I would wake up and I couldn't breathe, so I would have to start my day with like a mint water every day just to open up myself, and it also helps like you said with digestion, but I think for me it helped like just open everything up and be able to breathe more as
Yeah.
well.
When we went years ago, when we could travel,
Yeah.
the same thing when we went to Utah,
Mhm.
the air, it's drier there. So I ended up in the altitude. So I think the first year we went, I think I got altitude sickness. The
Mm.
second year we went, I got severe dehydration and I was drinking water, I was drinking other fluids.
Mhm.
Um, and I just like panicked because I was like nauseous, like the worst headache, and I was like so dizzy, and I was like, because we're not used to that. And then I'm like, I don't know how people live here, or my body like there. Did your hands swell when you went?
Yeah.
Your body's like retaining this
Routine.
moisture. Like I brought clothes with me, and I'm like, these fit. Like
When I tried them
when I tried them on before I packed them, and it's like we're only on day one. I'm like,
you retain a lot of the water. You almost, yeah, you swell up because your body's just trying to hold on to that
yeah,
hydration.
yeah.
A lot of
Oh,
times too, like you said, the juices, like I'll have a green juice. Like if I'm ever feeling not well or something, like having a green juice rather than going for like an allergy medicine or something that's gonna like destroy your insides. Just having like a green juice, whether it's a celery juice or the one that I go to at our local organic corner spot is like apple, spinach, lemon, and then sometimes they'll add cayenne in there for me or something like that. But I don't know. I notice like a green juice, if I even have like a tickle in my throat or I'm just not feeling well, I have a green juice and I'm like, I'm back to normal. Like whatever it is, I don't know what's in it or what it does, but it tends to help me.
yeah, I have a juicer, so I love this time of year. I'm just like, okay, it's time to start juicing.
Yeah.
I love it, but then it has so many parts, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like thinking about juicing right now, I'm just like, I'm
Right. To do it on your own is a lot. Like that's why I'm like, I don't mind. I'll support the small business. I'll pay however much it
yeah,
is. Just juice it for me, please.
I wish we had places like that because then I wouldn't have to make my own juice.
I know.
Um, so, but I love doing in the summer watermelon and mint because when you
Yeah.
get a watermelon, there's so much liquid. So I get
Yeah.
gallons of watermelon, and I've actually
Yeah.
froze it in ice cube trays.
Hmm.
And I've even just like taken those out and put them like if we do like yard work or when it's really hot
Mm.
out and you have to like do stuff outside
Hmm.
and use that as ice cubes. So I'll put
Right.
water and then because it's just like a really
You
good
can even
hydration.
freeze mint leaves in water, in ice, or in lemon juice, or whatever you want to do
Yeah.
that as well. So that's a good idea.
Yeah. And I will juice lemons and citrus, orange. Um,
Yeah, those are summer, spring
that.
fruits. They're in
Yeah.
season. Yeah. That's the
So
thing too, like look at your local like farmers markets or find your local farms and eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Like get hydration from that as well. Not if you can't drink gallons of water all day, get it from the foods that you're eating because obviously in the summer there's things that are in season more now. Strawberries, I'm sure there's plenty of other things that I can't think of. Oranges I know are in season.
peaches,
Peaches,
uh, blueberries, all
yeah,
the berries, I
all the
think.
berries. So definitely get those fresh and try to buy organic when you can. I know there's like a list of like the dirty 12 or something that you definitely need to buy organic, and then there's some where if you had to buy not organic, it would be okay. So you could just do a quick Google on that. There, those lists are everywhere, but just fresh fruits and vegetables when they're in season are so much better for you than buying frozen or buying at the store.
Mhm. And I also wanted to mention quick, if you do any sort of cleanse or you try any kind of herbs, if you're getting severe stomach cramping or diarrhea,
Mm,
discontinue that immediately and call your doctor, because you shouldn't, the things that, at least for me, like I've never gotten sick from doing any sort of cleanse because I'm not doing like those intense. Like I know there's something that's called the master cleanse where it's lemon, cayenne, I think it's apple cider vinegar, and you do that for like however. I have the book, and
mhm.
I was like gonna try it, and then I'm like, no, this this is not for me. Like
Right, right,
I don't feel like being in the bathroom for however many days.
right.
Like, you
Yeah.
know, and I mean, that would be the good time. If you're working from home, do a cleanse because at least you're
Right,
home. If you need to
exactly.
go to the bathroom, like it's, you know,
And I also
you're at
wanna
home.
mention too, like, there are those, like, fad cleanses out there that you wanna stay away from, where it's like, "Oh, you do this quick fix and you can get a flat stomach," and they call it a cleanse, but it's more of, like, that diet culture cleanse, it's not really for wellness, so just be careful when you're looking up cleanses of which one that you're gonna do, make sure it's actually for wellness and it's not just a fad diet or something like that.
Yeah. And then along with foods, your skin. I don't know about you guys, but we have electric heat. So the air in here is so dry. So my
Mm,
skin is so dry no matter how many times I put lotion or
mhm,
exfoliate. It's just the winter when you when you live where the seasons are, winter is the worst for your
yeah,
skin. So this is also a great time of year to just exfoliate, exfoliate, exfoliate
mhm,
all the dead winter skin
mm,
off, and then just moisturize, like keep
mhm.
the moisturizer coming. You can even do don't use St. Ives apricot scrub. That's like
Mhm.
the cosmetologist in me, like
Yeah.
from like high school days when we didn't know.
Yeah,
Um,
your plant-based
yeah, a
products and no
simple,
fragrance. Yeah.
yeah, a simple. If you want to make your own
Mhm,
scrub, you can just do either salt or sugar, the fine grain,
mhm,
with. I don't. They always say olive oil. So like if you're really, really dry and you really need that much, olive oil is very heavy on the skin.
mhm,
Um, if you need that intense moisture, use that. You
mhm,
can use avocado oil, grapeseed oil,
mhm,
sunflower oil, um, something that's more lighter. Like if you're just like,
yeah,
I have like a little bit of dry skin, just use a lighter carrier oil. I'm
mhm,
not a particular fan. I know everyone, well, not everyone, but like you see a lot that coconut oil. People rant and rave, oh, coconut oil. Coconut oil is not great for my skin, so I don't use it. And
mhm.
with Indigo Rose Beauty, I don't work with coconut oil just because I don't like, I feel like it clogs my skin, and I don't like working with it. I like
Right.
cooking with it,
Yeah.
but
Use it as, like, more of, like, a moisturizer on my hands, but I won't use it on my face. Like, if anything,
yeah,
I'll use it as, like you said, like a carrier oil for the essential
yeah,
oils or something like that.
yeah. So that too.
Yeah, when you're exfoliating, make sure it's either plant-based or it doesn't have fragrance and all these chemicals in it, because that's gonna just strip the natural oils from your face, and you don't want to do that either. You do want to exfoliate, but you don't want to take away what your skin is naturally supposed to produce.
Yeah, yeah, and be careful of that greenwashing. This
Mm,
fake clean beauty product
yeah.
has parabens, fragrance, um, words that you can't pronounce. If
Mhm.
you see like, okay, olive oil, sugar, and essential oils, or something like that, you'll know. Okay, this is a cleaner.
Right.
product.
And there's actually an app, I don't know if you showed me or who showed me, I think it's called Think Dirty. There's a bunch of different kind of apps, but basically you can scan the product and it'll tell you how clean it is on the scale of 1 to 10 or something. So if you're in the green area, you're good. It's a cleaner product, but things like Dove and St. Ives, like those are going to be red and not good for you.
I
So you
think
can look those up.
when I first found that app, it was good. And then rumors, again, I don't know if this is fake news. I heard um, a company not bought it, but might be influencing it somehow
Mm,
and manipulating the data. I don't
uh-oh.
know if it's true. I still use the app because it's been helpful.
Mhm.
Because if you scan the product, it's going to show you in
What?
the app the ingredients list. So you can just look at the product and
Mhm.
look at the app and make sure it's accurate. I still use the app. And then I think
And with anything, you want to do your double research. Like, don't just
yeah,
trust something right away.
I cross reference that app with ewg.org. And
Yeah.
everyone always, like, there's just so much negativity online. I still use these um, websites and apps because they've helped me. They've helped
Mhm.
know, okay, this is a hormone
Right.
disruptor, this is a carcinogen, the cause and effect of these ingredients do this.
Mhm.
So I like to call myself, I'm an obnoxious label reader,
Mhm.
I have friends who send me like, oh, we
Important though.
found this natural product, and I'm like, it's not natural. Like,
Yeah,
what is this ingredient? And they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, yeah, throw it
it's
out,
not.
or like, don't buy it.
That's a good thing too, like, doing, like, a cleaning of your space and checking out all the products that are in your house. Like, I went through a big, like, dump. Like, I used to be, like, a Bath& and Body Works fanatic, like, buying all the sales, and I literally just threw full bottles of everything, threw it all out, and just replaced it with clean products because that stuff is literally gonna kill you. Like, I'm like,
They get you.
yeah, literally, like, you can still find effective products that smell good that are not going to be toxic for you. So, as much as you don't wanna give it up, like, it's not helping you, so do a big cleanse of your space, of your medicine cabinet, of under your sink in your bathroom, all the products that you use on your skin and your body every day, and make sure that they are clean because that's, like, the first start to making sure you're living this wellness life because you could eat all the great foods in the world, but if you're putting all this toxic crap on you afterwards, it's not a good balance. So
I think I even had that. I don't know where it is now in my notes. I even had like get rid of things that don't spark joy, and that
yeah.
um people, places, or things, like all this stuff. I love spring cleaning. We actually started that in the winter. I went through like even like furniture
Me
that
too.
like we like donated, that
Hmm.
was like, okay, enough with this. Like, we don't need all this furniture. Like, because when we bought our house, a lot of the stuff was left, the furniture, and we didn't have when we moved in, it's like, oh, we have all this furniture now. Okay, we're
Right.
like adults. And now I'm like, we don't need this. We even got rid of like our bookshelf. We kept the books, but we
Yeah.
just put them because I'm like, who, this like gigantic bookshelf, who is reading
Yeah.
all these books that I just had to have,
Hmm.
because I hoard books, herbs, books, and crystals. That's like what you'll find in my closets.
That's so fun.
Um, but spring cleaning. So not, this wellness isn't just for your insides, it's for your environment, um, going, like, speaking herbalism terms, there's something called the medicine wheel. So it can be called a sacred circle, or the Native American medicine wheel. So this is something that I had learned, um, which is actually really cool because we learned about how to create a medicine wheel in the garden. In my garden is
Mhm.
a disaster, but we have to do some spring cleaning outside. But for winter, so when we talked about winter wellness, that was the time of going inward.
Yeah.
Um, with our healing and deepening our inner spirituality. Now that we're in spring, this is the time for new beginnings, for taking action, all those ideas, those creative
Mhm.
ideas that you had in the winter that you were just thinking, overthinking. Now's the time to take the steps to move forward with those ideas. The medicine wheel is a great reminder to balance all four aspects of ourselves, whether it's spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental. We can use the medicine wheel, and you guys can Google it, because when I Googled, because I was like, all this information that's in my head, sometimes it can be a little jumbled. So I have to look things up sometimes so that they make sense to you guys.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like in my head, I make sense, but then translating it onto
Yeah.
paper, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. You can use the medicine wheel to do a self-assessment. I know Kenzie talks a lot about like her self check-ins.
Mhm.
Do that self-assessment with the medicine wheel to determine how balanced you are.
Yeah.
And when we're out of balance, that's where that dis-ease or disease
Mhm.
or imbalances in the body, the stagnant liver chi, there's a stagnation somewhere. So that's a really good tool
I have
to
a
practice.
little tip to that to make that sort not easier, but like an exercise that you can do when you're reflecting on that. Matthew, my brother, actually showed it to me when this is what he did when he was in like a really bad place, and he showed like so many people, and it's helped them so much. You just make a chart with the four quadrants: physical, mental, spiritual, and I think
Emotion, spiritual,
emo
emotional,
yeah, so I
wellness.
think he put social as one of them, social, mental, physical, spiritual, which includes emotional, I guess. Something like that. Anyway, you do the four quadrants of whatever ones you want to talk about, and then you list in those quadrants. Okay, let's say it's mental. You say where you're at now, whether it's good or bad, and then you have to say where do you want to be, and then what are the steps to get there. So in your four quadrants, you have those three questions in each of those four quadrants, and then you can kind of give yourself that self-assessment. Where are you at now? Where do I want to be in this quadrant mentally? Like maybe mentally right now, I wasn't in a good place when I first did those quadrants. I want to be somewhere else. So I put where I wanted to be and then steps to get there. Then take 6 months, 2 months, 3 months, a year, do the quadrants again, see where you're at, and compare those two charts and see how much you've grown in those four quadrants. So that really helped me see it on paper, because it's one thing to think about those things, but when you put it on paper, it's kind of like, wow, like look at the difference of where I started and where I am now. So that can be helpful.
I like that he created his own
Yeah,
sacred circle. I like
yeah.
it because it is with the medicine wheel. It's four quadrants, but then
Mhm.
there's the circle in the middle. But then there's like, what is that with coordinates, like north, south, east, west, and then
Yeah.
like I'm terrible with directions, so I'm going like this,
Good latitude,
like
I don't know.
like northeast, southeast, like all that. Like the little, I like that. That's a great starting point.
Right, exactly.
And it's okay because stuff like that overwhelms me when it's like, well, where are you now? Where do you want to be? So like impatient me is like, take me there now.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
so like that
That
that's
kind of
something
helps you
I'm
break it
learning.
down.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, put that aside. It's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then I know we talked a little bit about, there are essential oils for this time of year that, as always, if you want to buy oils, chat with me about oils. Because I invested a lot of education in that. So I like to speak to people one on one with that because everyone's different. So it's
We're
not
not
like
gonna
a
just
one size.
blanket recommend, yeah,
We're
stuff.
not going to say use this oil. I mean, you'll see us on camera using oils
Right.
depending on how we're feeling, what we're doing,
Mhm.
what topics we're talking about. I know sometimes I need those emotional oils for certain topics that we talk about to uh, to get through that. But
Mhm. I like
and
what
then
you
the
mentioned
last
too. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you said, you know, the springtime is not about going inside anymore, it's about going outside. So that also includes like physically being outside, like get that vitamin D,
Yeah.
be in the sun, be around nature more. It's a lot easier in the nicer weather to experience that and not be cold or whatever. So go on hikes, go be in nature, do yoga outside rather than in a stuffy studio or in your room. Just move your body more, just get outdoors because especially in New York, there's only a short window of time that we have nice weather. So when you can get outside, go and do it. Even if it's just a 5-minute walk to take a breath outside, if you're working in an office or whatever, or you're working from home, sit under a tree outside or something. You know, don't stay stagnant in your space. So that was the last thing I wanted to mention.
No, that's a good, definitely. I'm always
Mhm,
this time of year, if it's nice out or outside, because
mhm,
I'm just like, I need to be outside. But I don't know if I've always kind of had this, and I don't know if this is like an empath thing, an HSP thing. When we go from winter, so like it's like freezing, and like that first nice day where you're like, it's nice out, I
yeah.
kind of have a meltdown because
Mm,
I almost feel like rushed. Like I know spring is
yeah, like I
coming.
wasn't ready for it.
Down to spring. I'm like, where is spring? I can't wait till spring. And then spring gets here and I'm like, I'm not ready. It's not
Yeah.
time. Like I go into this like, and I don't know if it's like an overstimulation thing or with it like being like, I don't know, maybe it's
It's
like,
not gradual, especially in New York.
yeah, like it's like a shock
So
to my
yeah,
system. And I'm like,
right.
so I
Like, we
catch
had that fake spring, like, we had a really nice weather, like, a couple months like, a month ago, and then they were like, "Nope, sorry, winter's back," and then now we're really in spring, so it's like,
yeah.
that can kinda mess with you too, because 'cause you're like, "Oh, it's finally nice," and then it's like, "Oh, wait, no, it's just kidding," like, it's not.
I know what helps me. The other day, it was really nice. And the three of us, we went for a walk at night because it's still light out.
Mhm.
And we're walking, and the peepers, when I hear the peepers,
Mm,
little frogs, that is spring to me. And
yeah.
there's certain parts of like hiking spots or walking trails
Mhm.
here where it's so loud, the vibration I can feel in my chest, my whole body is like vibrating. And that, and then I'm like crying because it's like, it's finally here. Like, you
Yeah.
know, and I got so excited with
Mhm.
Violet and I just like stopped walking and I'm like, Violet, do you hear the peepers? I kind of look like a crazy lady, like just like because I was just like with my hands and like doing like a little dance, like
Yeah.
outside, and I didn't even care because when I hear peepers,
Mhm.
it takes away that like when I freak out when I'm like, it's not
Yeah.
time, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And when I hear it's, I guess it's, I don't know, like different sound frequencies, like
Yeah. That's a
where your
big thing.
brain can kind of calm you, or what is it,
Yeah.
blue space, like the ocean, or I forget, like I'm like ions and like all
Yeah.
these things. Like I don't know. That those are the trendy words that I'm just like throwing out
Well,
that I'm
there are, yeah, sound
talking about.
frequencies that are for
Yeah.
healing. So, like, that could be like the vibrations of those sounds of those animals, like, are at a certain frequency that is a healing frequency. So,
Yeah. Um, oh, and then the last, I know you have some more tips too, but the last one in my notes. So for environment, well, for ourselves and our environment, we can do seasonal smudging. So I know Kenzie and I talk a lot about this, about cleansing our home of stagnant energy, just like we have that internal stagnant chi,
mhm,
our spaces can have stagnant energy. I know when we used to be able to have people in gatherings and at home, I would always smudge the house afterwards to just, there's some people that come in and out of your house, they're a little grouchy, and I don't want that energy in my house. So you can do this anytime, but doing a thorough smudging of your home, you can do that 4 times a year with the season change. Um, or whenever you feel negative energy in your house or yourself, you can smudge yourself. I tend to smudge myself first, before I do the house, because I want to make sure I'm not taking along like
Mhm.
any negative energy while I'm trying to clear the house. You can burn sage or any other holy herbs or any herb um, that you're connected to. Smudging or burning any herbs, it's a powerful ritual to cleanse your space and your environment of negative energy, but it can also help you to gain wisdom and clarity, and it promotes healing. I know after I smudge myself and the house, I'm super relaxed. I try to make sure I'm also carrying water with me because sage can be very drying to your lungs, and you also want to have the windows open. Windows or doors, usually windows, because this time of year I don't want a squirrel in my house, trying to come on in with the door open, because they're out and about too, frolicking. Um, the one thing I wanted to mention with this is that a lot of people, when you talk about smudging or using sage or Palo Santo, a lot of people online freak out in groups. And I didn't understand because I don't know how I found sage or how it found me. So I've always used it. But it's because it's over harvested, and these two plants are on the endangered species list, but also with sage especially, there's a long history with Native Americans in their ceremonial rituals, in their sacred rituals that they've used sage. So I understand that point of like, okay, if you're not a Native American and then you're taking more from them, right? Because people took their lands. Like, so, it's like, how much more are you going to take from these people? So I understand where they're coming from. But there are also, I think, some tribes who actually do sell to make a living. They do sell ceremonial sage, but they're ethically sourced. They're not from the dollar store. If you see Palo Santo or sage in the dollar store, you might not want to buy it because you don't know where it came from. How was it harvested? Is it being taken from, what's the word? Like when it's like in Peru, I know Palo Santo, they only harvest it from the dead trees. But these trees are not being cut down, they're falling on their own. So they're letting nature take its course. So ethically harvested Palo Santo is, this tree is 100 years old. It naturally fell to the ground. Now we can ask if we can harvest. We harvest the things that are naturally like the ecosystem of nature. We're not, as human beings, destroying even more of nature than we already have. So I understand both sides. So that's why it's important. I have I have like 2 ounces of dried sage that I've had for over 4 years, because when I first started, I had the bundle.
Mhm.
But then I didn't know until I saw someone else do it that you can do just a leaf. And I actually like using the leaves better because the sticks, I always feel like I'm gonna set the house on fire. Like, because then I have to go outside. Then I'm like tapping it in the dirt, and I'm like, is it out? Is it not out? Then I'm like, now a whole day staring at this stick, making
Yeah.
sure that it's not still on because I can't leave the house. So I like using the individual leaves, because it's only, you're only using one leaf as opposed to like something that's bigger. The same thing with the Palo Santo. You're just using one stick and it burns very slow. It's not like incense, where incense kind of burns fast.
Mhm.
Um, so that, just be mindful. Use it when you need to, but
Yeah.
also be mindful of the plants as well. That some of these plants that we use, even for medicinal purposes, there are some plants that I've used sometimes because I've needed them for my health, but we're using them sparingly, or we're thanking the plants. We're thanking, nature and the plants for giving us this medicine. So that's like the spiritual side of that as well. And even that's like the little bits of like, I love shamanism. I feel very connected to that because it's more of like in nature and talking to the tree. Like for me, it's talking to the trees, meditating outside,
Mhm,
being with the plants, giving thanks to them,
mhm.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love all all great tips. I don't think I had anything left on my list other than when we were talking about like local farmers markets and stuff. For allergies, I like to take like a spoonful of raw local honey because the bees in your area are pollinating that. So oftentimes, if you're allergic to pollen and things like that, taking the honey can help counteract that allergy. But it has to be from where you live. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But making sure that it's local and raw and also ethically sourced, because bees are a huge part of our environment and our ecosystem, and keeping things alive and running. So making sure you're saving the bees and doing that ethically is important as well. But that was my last tip. That was all I had as well.
I just want to mention one more thing with the bees. So in your garden, if you have the space, plant plants for the bees, for hummingbirds, for butterflies, bees and monarchs. Monarchs, I think, I don't know if they're still on the endangered species list,
I know
but
they were, but I don't know if they still
we
are.
had 'cause I love butterflies. We had a butterfly bush for a couple years, but
Mm.
then for whatever reason, again, me and my not so green thumb, or
Mm.
I don't know if it was the soil, I don't know. I plant things, hope for the best. And then, sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't. But planting um, for the honeybees, because
Mhm.
we get a lot of there's like mosquito. I don't like mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Wasps like can
Mhm.
be nasty. So like we have had a lot of wasps in our garden. So like this is why like I plant things and then I'm like, okay, see you later, because if there's a wasp, I'm not going in that garden because I don't want to get stung.
So
But
what are some plants for the bee? Do you know of what?
um I think for the bees, it's like any flower, like stuff that makes a lot of pollen, or like things that like the flowers that open that have pollen. Like I know we had a rose of Sharon
Mhm.
that the hummingbirds loved. The bumblebees, like I loved watching, and I'm like laughing because I'm like, oh, this looks like me being a hoarder with all my herbs because they're like hoarding like the pollen, and they
Uh,
have so much pollen that they're like wobbly flying. Like I think that's so cute. I'm like, they're being so cute. Like, and I'm like, you take all that pollen. Um, so we've had that, and then what is it? I do have lemon balm in my garden, and I know
mm,
the butterflies. I'm not sure with I think the bees, but interesting story about honeybees. So I've had till violet. It hasn't really happened lately, but before violet, the honeybees, any kind of bee, usually the honeybees I'd be outside and they're like swarming, not swarming, but like
mm,
one that's just like around me, following me. And then I'm like, please don't sting me, and I would get really tense, or just like, I'm like going like this, like, don't like fly anywhere. Um, I did actually a couple years back get stung by a honeybee,
mm,
and I didn't realize. I wasn't even, I was standing, I was outside standing. I had on like little ballet slipper shoes, and I got stung on the side of my foot. And I was like, I didn't even realize until something sharp, and I like dropped to grab my foot,
mm.
and I saw it was a honeybee. So I had to pull the honeybee like off of me. So now I'm crying because I'm like, I just killed a honeybee. Like it was like such an emotional thing because I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't even realize that they could, like, I know they can sting, but like who, like, to me, I was like, it's more like a wasp or
Yeah.
like something like that. I had to pull the stinger out. I ended up, my foot ended up like swelling, my ankle ended up swelling because I think in the middle of the night like a couple nights after, I was scratching my foot in my sleep. So all of that, like the venom spread. And
Mm.
so, and now everyone's panicking that I'm allergic to bees and like, and I'm like, I literally took every single essential oil that I had and put it on my foot, one after the other. I had like my case. I was just drop, 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 drop. I ended up smelling like an Italian, like because it was oregano and basil and like all. The smell was so strong, and then I think I ended up giving myself like an emotional detox too quickly because I was hysterical. I was a basket case.
Yeah, probably
Um,
all the oil. Yeah, all the
it was
oils.
too much, but I ended up going to see my naturopath because I was going for acupuncture, and I said to her, "Just be careful of my foot because it's swollen." So she looks at my foot and she kind of giggled, and she's like, "Oh, you got stung in the acupressure point for fear
Uh,
in your foot." And I was like, of course I did. Like, like, because at that
yeah,
time of my life, I was going through some stuff, like fearful things.
yeah.
And I was like,
So
huh.
it hit that emotional release for you. You
Yeah.
were
And
like,
then
wow.
my best friend's mom, I have to give a shout out to my best friend's mom because she's like my second mom.
Mhm.
I call her because she used to be a nurse. Um, Hysterical, like my foot, and I don't know. And so she goes, okay. And they're from Latvia. So she goes, take cheap vodka. She goes, just any kind of cheap vodka, soak it in paper towel, wrap your foot. She goes, then put saran wrap. And then she goes, then put a bag, then put a scarf around it, and then elevate your foot. So I'm like, okay. And she's like, and leave it for a couple hours. So I'm like sitting like up on the
Yeah.
couch, just like, and then that was the only thing that took the swelling down because I took one Benadryl.
Mm.
I cannot take Benadryl. Like Benadryl lasts like into like the next couple days for me.
Mhm.
Like I can't. I don't like this like floaty feeling, and I'm still swollen. So like this,
It
so
didn't work.
it's like, oh, cheap vodka. So it actually worked because it like sweated out all of that stuff. Yeah, my foot was really like I couldn't wear shoes. It was that swollen.
That's crazy. Well, that's a cool story.
Yeah. So me and the honeybees,
Yeah.
um, and
Go ahead, go ahead.
so I also think, what is it that, because I think bees, it happens with like fertility and like all this, like, so like all the stuff that I had gone through with like my periods being so severe and like that's like your feminine, like reproductive, like fertility, that's your space. So it's the way nature kind of can come to you. So like if
Mhm.
nature comes to you and you're receiving messages, like be open to listening, open that heart space and to receive. It's okay to receive. Like if you give, like it's okay to receive your own healing from nature too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll end on that, but let us know, like Becky's friend's mom, let us know what your rituals are, your special healing spring rituals can be to cleanse yourself, cleanse your space, anything that you guys do that you suggest during this time of year. We're open to hearing and we'd love to hear your feedback. So let us know.
As much as we love giving tips, we also love receiving tips.
We're always open to learning. We love to continue to evolve and grow. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow, like, comment, share. And we will be tuning in to our next video soon. So thank you.
Bye.